Our guest today is Steliana Economu, an executive coach, TED Talk speaker, best-selling author. Her latest book, Parentship, is a leadership guide for families and teams. While her debut, Mothers as Leaders, received the Global Win Conference Award for contribution to feminine leadership. With over 2 decades in leadership development at companies like Nike, Vodafone, and Shell International, has coached leaders from more than 20 nationalities and delivered over 10,000 hours of leadership training on 5 continents, from Lagos to Calgary, Houston to London, and all the way to Tokyo in Japan. Her coaching expertise lies in systematic team coaching, a method where the CEO receives coaching together with the leadership team and their key stakeholders. Today, she is mentor coach for the Rise Door Leadership Institute, and she manages the coaching practice Mothers as Leaders. Originally from a small village in Romania, Black Sea coast, Steliana's journey began in a pre-internet since 2006. She lived and worked in 4 countries: Romania, the Netherlands, England, and now in the US. Steliana, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me, Krishna. It's a pleasure to talk to you always, and also a pleasure to connect with the listeners on this podcast. I always have an affinity with the technology and finance world. I studied finance, believe it or not, and my first university was math. Unfortunately, I didn't follow it, but I am fascinated. I want to be surrounded by people in this field. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Steliana. When I met you first and heard that you are an author of a book, it's in my mind, writing a book and running a marathon, it's a long haul. It's not an easy task that everyone can do, right? I think to start with, my question, the first question is, you have a rich career in leadership development and executive coaching. What first drew you to this field and what keeps you inspired today?
Yes, there is this. I always had this fascination with human behavior. Even as a child, I wanted to study groups. I always was curious what motivated people do one thing and not the other thing. And when I was in university already, I joined an organization called ISEC. And when I had the opportunity to become trained at one of the trainers, I thought, this is my field. I can help people who are shy and not confident to become the best version of themselves. Things they couldn't do before. And I can do that just by asking questions and being encouraging. It felt natural. So it's nice to be in a field where your natural way of being fits with what's needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very critical to know where your strengths are and help yourself as well as your clients in the whole process. That's a great answer, and I think many executives struggle with balancing high performance work with personal life. What patterns do you most often see in leaders you coach?
There is a sense of high standards. You can imagine leaders, men, women who come for coaching, they have one quality, which is very high sense of self-actualization. Otherwise, they won't pay money to become a better person. Um, and that comes with a downside. It comes with very high, setting high expectations of yourself, high bar, and feeling that you're never good enough, which, some people call it imposter syndrome. Some people call it ambition. It's good until at some point. It gets you through your 20s, through your 30s. You're great at education. So this is what the leaders who come from it. They're great. They study hard, work hard. They achieved and achieved and achieved. And then what happens is, the pattern I'm seeing is, you get in the age of late 30s, 40s, where just achieving more is not enough. And I recognize that in myself, by the way, when I was at Shell. And suddenly you tick all your boxes and somehow you still feel empty and you still want more. And then you have to ask yourself, what am I missing? Is it life all about achieving and achieving standards? Or is it about knowing yourself and how you can serve the world? So what I find that a lot of leaders who come for coaching have high standards, and they impose those high standards on themselves, but even worse, sometimes on their family and all the people they work for. And when you don't reach those standards, First of all, you're upset on yourself. Inner critic is super high, but you don't want to show that. And you show that sometimes by being very critical on the others for their own good. So that creates sometimes a tension because people feel they can never live up to your expectation. And the people around you, family, team, think, when is going to be enough? And one of the first things I'm trying to do with the leaders I coach is empathy to yourself, kindness with yourself, and appreciate yourself for who you are, unconditional love. All the achievements are bonus.
Absolutely. You nailed it. I think I totally agree there. And also, I think in most of the leaders at the top are very alone. I mean, they need someone to bring these aspects out, right? And having an executive coach like you definitely makes that part of it come out.
Yeah.
The next question is, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You said the word alone. I'm sorry to jump on it because it triggered something in me when you said alone. And I realized actually that many, many years ago in my first leadership role ever, what scared me most was the loneliness. I was very ambitious and I wanted to become the president, and it was very hard to be voted. You had 50 people, politics, you know how it was everywhere, and rounds. And finally, I got there. And I remember the first months going to the former president and saying, it's horrible. It's lonely. My friends don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to me only when they want something because I had to approve their travels. And this was when I was 20, and I'm still reflecting on that. Now, I'm a coach on the other side, I'm thinking, how can I help the leaders carry that loneliness?
I'm just double clicking on that same aspect. What do a typical leader should do to get away from that particular mentality? In the sense, I mean, is it peers, having similar peers, sharing some thoughts and stuff like that? Or what is your solution for that?
Question, because it's not, I wouldn't say it's a fix it all. I wish I was that leader says, I have a book, Solve Loneliness. I think the immediate thing you need to consider is, how do you feel when you're alone with yourself? That's when you realize that, going back to the self-confidence, how do you put that loneliness to use? Sadness, loneliness, this could be bad emotions. And we can say, we don't want them. We need to be happy, enthusiastic, but they have a place. Loneliness brings reflection, and
That's
leaders
true.
need reflection. They need to be the ones that kind of sometimes sit in the back and think, what's happening here? What's happening in the environment? And rather than running away from loneliness, my solution, my advice is always for leaders. And again, I'm the CEO of my own company, is journal. Don't let those thoughts wear you out. Try to put it on paper. I mean, I'm a writer, so I decided to journal every day when I wake up and I have lots of thoughts. I have a pen and a paper next to my bed and just jot some things down. The moment those thoughts are transparent, they become ideas. Not everybody has to write a book, but it will help you later in life. And of course, I'll give you the advice that my mentor gave me when I was 30 in Shell, my dear mentor, Hong Meng. It's very good advice. Said, Steliana, what are you doing at 6:30 in the office? Get a life. And I was laughing because I was so obsessed with my career that I was not investing enough time on hobbies, on life beyond career management. The other advice is find a hobby. I tell it to my husband, he's also has a leadership role. And do something that you can be happy, brings you joy.
Happy.
So it compensates for the loneliness.
It's a good point. Good point. I think, yeah. Uh, Coming back to that hobbies, that yeah, we all have some hobbies like golf and going out with friends and any sports you play for fun, which has. So I totally am with you. I mean, it literally de-stresses you, and then you go into a different world, right? Coming to the next question, coming to your parentship book, you connect parenting with leadership. What inspired you to explore this intersection?
It was, I think I was searching for an answer for a couple of years. I had published my first book, Mothers as Leaders, and in the pandemic, it was a hot topic because suddenly all the mothers found themselves at home, and I started to receive invitation for employee resource groups with Salesforce, Microsoft, Renault. We don't know how to motivate. Moms are like, have to do it all. Everybody's working from home. So I was invited to a panel by Salesforce, and the panel had men and women, and I was supposed to talk about mothers as leaders. But it got very heated. Great ideas come from, emotion. It was very emotional, and some of the men, Dutch men, like Yeah, but I do a lot of stuff at home as well. It's not just my wife and I, we are partners and it's a team and it's hard now, but it's not just mothers as leaders. Men contribute to us. Okay, men contribute too. And I put a challenge to the group and I said, how about the children? This is a hardship in your team at work. When there's a crisis, you gather the team and you say, what are we doing? Are we doing the same in our families? Are we telling our kids to step up? I don't know, pick up the dishes. They're 10, they clean up after themselves, do more chores in the house. Is it just you delivering services like a 5-star hotel to the children? Or are you all chipping in? And there was silence. And some people said, yeah, but children labor. I said, okay, I grew up on a farm. So we all had to work and do our stuff during crisis. And somehow that tense conversation triggered something. I thought, okay, it's something that I think it's common sense. It's not common sense in this Western modern society. That was the first thing. I thought, obviously, I have to research this. So I interviewed women from France. I interviewed men CEOs from Mexico, from Brazil, from Romania, from the Netherlands, just because I thought, are you thinking the same? Do you think family should be a team and everybody needs to chip in? Or do you think that it's only the parents who hold the power or the moms? It was interesting to have that perspective. And of course, what happens when you have 20 interviews, you have this big piece of research. I realized I'm onto something here and it's needed. I feel our society needs to invest in the most important cell in our society, and that's the family. When I came to me for coaching, he said, my team is fine. They're great. They're young. I build them. They're successful. It's my 4-year-old that gives me trouble. I'm not kidding you. That was his coaching goal. That I want to be able to say stuff to him and to listen. He drives me crazy. And I have 2 other girls in the house. I go crazy. I work from home. It's the intersectionality of how to influence at home. How are you a leader at home? But how can you be a leader at work? And how can you deal with the conflict? That's something that I explored in this.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, you bring a lot of good points. How do you think organizations can benefit from recognizing the leadership skills parents naturally develop?
So going back to family, we're great of conflicts of families, right? Because we care. There is a sense of commitment. There is a sense of trust because everybody loves each other. And sometimes that's why you scream at each other, because the love and trust will be there. And yes, maybe as a parent, you argue, no, I don't want to do this. Just last night, I had a discussion with my husband. No, we're not doing this. Yeah, because you have these arguments and you're feisty, the decision that you make, you're united, you're committed. And that's what I think organizations should learn. Be able to have constructive conflicts before making decisions, putting enough trust, commitment, respect, and love they have for each other, so that when they make that decision, there's no behind doors. There's too
Yeah,
much politics. If a conflicts happen in the room, you don't have a grapevine. And this is where the biggest problem I find exists at the moment in big organizations. Politeness at the board level, fights underneath.
agree, agree. Uh, the actually the both of your books challenge traditional view of leadership. What is the biggest misconception you want readers to let go of?
I think the biggest misconcept is of the idea of leadership. Let me explain what I mean by that. When we say the word leadership, if you are a certain part of the world, sometimes you start having pictures of leaders, most of the time male figures. I'm sorry, but that's how our history taught us. It
Mhm.
feels like those pictures of leaders, Kennedy, Queen Elizabeth, Winston Churchill, they are humans. Leadership is not held in one person. We talk about the triangle. Leadership is formed, shared leadership in a triangle where you need a character, a strong leader. You need followers who are willing to listen, and you need mission, vision, purpose
Mhm.
that is burnt enough. Now, when one of those elements of a triangle is missing, this is falling. So
Uh,
you see people who are influencers, they have a lot of followers, but the problem is a lot of times the vision is not clear. So you have, the new famous people around, but are they leaders? Not all of them. Then you have strong characters, but if they don't have followers, people call them, yeah, he's just shouting to the woods. He's a great activist. right? If you have a vision, but you are not able to execute it through strong character, again, you're not doing anything. So for me, the biggest idea that I want to promote in the book is in the teams and in the families, share power, gain love. That's what I say. It sounds very hippie. But if you share the power as a parent, as a leader, if you share the power, you teach, you allow your children, people in the team, maybe your partners to step up. So the idea of shared leadership is extremely important. And that's what I wanted to bring in the book. If you don't teach your children to step up, God forbid it, when you get older and you're sick and they have to team up to take care of you or make a decision about your operation, you better not be sure they got the teaming up. They got the leadership skills.
That's true.
Because if they failed in developing those skills in them and they still argue and they feel like they can't make decisions, they feel, but dad knew this, then you think, okay, I held power to myself too much. Or mom knows this. I mean, it depends on the family, right? So shared leadership, it's something that I mean by parentship.
Yes. Well said. Well said. I mean, no, that's one of the things which comes strongly in that book. Yeah, I remember. And also bring the family as a team, play to the strength of each team members and things like that. There are a few things which take away, which I had from that book. Very well written. I would recommend that book to everyone who wants to have a very good team playing leadership development skill among the family members, I would say. Going to the next one, I think this is regarding your TED Talk and public voice. You have spoken on global stages, including TED. How did preparing for a TED Talk differ from your other speaking experiences?
Say it was the most transformational experience. I recommend it to everyone. For me, it was less about being on the stage. I mean, if I think about it, I feel what I gained was the experience of preparing more than just being on the stage. What do I mean by that? With that, you get a coach, and always say yes, by the way, because I'm in Toastmasters, I'm done speaking. Do I need a coach? I said, don't be humble, take a coach. Why is that important? Because the coach helps you bring the idea to the public. The difference between TED Talks and anything else is TED is about an idea. It's not about you and your latest book and how smart you are. Is what does the world need, and how will your idea make normal people in the street better? It's all about the idea. You're just the messenger. And process of writing the speech, that's what I enjoy. He made me write the speech by myself, and he said, no, this is not about you write the speech and rehearse. We spend 70% of the time on writing the speech, and every word that you have in the speech, you need to feel it in your stomach. So we rehearse the emotion behind each word. Because he said, if your voice sounds fake, that means you didn't mean it. That's the power of the TED Talk, is how do you bring the idea? How do you use the words scarcely? And how do you put an emotion behind every word that you put there? You can't chat GPT your TED Talk. No. And you can't act it. You can be the best actor. That's not about that. It's about living it and knowing it like a happy birthday song. Honestly, I was saying my TED speech, singing in the shower, in the house, in the car. If you wake me up in the morning, I could recite that 10 minutes TED Talk. And I think that's what you need. If you don't get level of happy birthday song, you're not ready. I mean, that's just my perspective.
Actually, I
And
mean,
by the way,
yeah, it's very interesting. So, how does it work? I mean, in TED Talks, they assign you a coach, or
yeah,
somebody approaches you, or how does it work?
yeah, no, it's actually a month process. Somebody recommends you. So in my case, was in Romania, and the topic was adaptability. It was also for the startup tech industry, and everybody comes with their own idea. So you got a month. You have a team of speakers, a team of coaches, and you pair up. And some people say, I'm busy, I'm a CEO, I don't have time for this. And honestly, what happens with those people? They have to get out of this list because a day before they realize they were not ready. So first of all, start early, say yes to the coach. If you don't like your coach, ask for a new one. And we had weekly sessions in which we together crafted the speech. I wrote some first version. He gave me feedback, and we had rehearsed. Yeah, it actually via Zoom because it was in Romania. And I got tough feedback. If you think Toastmaster is hard, try the TED Talk coach. I had to go back with every word. Like, that's not the right words. Say it harder. And every time the speech became smaller and smaller. After every rehearsal, I went back and repeated the speech. So yeah, that was extremely helpful. Then you have a dry run, which is with equipment. That's scary. So it's like, how does it feel to be on the stage and to walk? And of course, it's about learning it, like Happy Birthday.
How big are your audience? I mean, is it a
This was in a cinema, actually. It was a huge cinema. It was a bit weird because everybody was in the room, and unfortunately I couldn't travel. So we had 200, 300 people in a
wow
huge
screen?
cinema with like 3D screens, all the sound and everything. Yeah, you have to be comfortable with the lights. I mean, I've done it in other programs, not with this TED Talk. What I always do, by the way, if you end up being invited in a TED, go the night before. I mean, I wasn't there physically, and even I did. I said, I want you to do exactly in the room with the lights. They were very kind and nice. They've done the whole thing just for me one day
Nice.
before, saying how big you are on the screen, where my mom came. So I said, where's my mom staying? Because I'm going to choke. So, think where you want the right people, your family to stay so you don't get
Wow,
nervous. Everything matters. Just be in the room like a day before. That's one advice I would give you. Or if
great.
it's virtual, try it. I'm excited about this. You can see I really like the TED Talk.
Very nice, very nice. Coming to the next stage, I mean, questions. This is regarding your personal journey and immigration experience. You lived and worked internationally and also experienced immigration to the US. How has that shaped your worldview as a leader and a coach?
It was mainly that I have a better understanding and empathy of American way of doing business. We have such a skewed view of Americans in Europe. I'm telling you, and I can tell this to all my friends Europeans. We have no idea. We think we know America because we watch movies. It's just different. I think I knew America because I was a manager for a company and half of the team was in America. I could see them on Zoom calls. No, I think being here, working here, I think you understand the values of hard work, community, the value of what is Americans are nice. And I actually enjoy that. I know that when I go back, we will go back at some point, we'll miss that. Is this to do attitude? America, everything is possible. Yes, they are busy. They're doing things all the time. I had to get used to it. But I think once we embrace it, there is a lot of things you can benefit. And I'm so fortunate. I had a wonderful experience. So nothing to complain. And it was the first time. I mean, I moved to the Netherlands, I moved to England, and this is in America. And there's no comparison or jealousy. But I gotta say, I felt fastest integrated here in my
Oh,
Dutch
okay.
college.
That's great to know. That's great to know. No, I think, as you said, hard work and meritocracy is recognized irrespective of where you come from. That's one thing which is unique in America, right? I mean, if you, I don't know whether you heard about this, Indrani talking to a reporter in England about why did you choose US and why you didn't come to London? And she said, if I had come to London, I won't be speaking to you today. So
I think it's spot on. Spot on.
yeah,
So I know what you mean. Yes.
so that's so
Yeah.
powerful, right? That message is so powerful. I mean, anyway, the next question is, if you could go back and give advice to your younger self at the beginning of your career and your journey as a mother, what would you say?
The two things. So to my younger version of myself, I would say take more risks. Yeah, take more risks. I was kind of holding myself back. A strong imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm non-native English speaker. So I think I held myself back a lot, watching what everybody's doing first. So dare more, be more bold. And to my journey as a mom, oh, loosen up, loosen up. Oh, my first year as motherhood, I was project manager mom. So I learned with the second one. Ask help. Ask help. I wasn't doing that enough.
Oh, that's a great one. Great one. So let's move on to the rapid fire round. I mean, this actually brings out the personal side of the guest. I mean, there is a professional side to everybody, and there is a personal side. That's an idea of having this rapid round. Are you early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
You are a coffee drinker or a tea drinker? Coffee or
Ooh,
tea?
coffee. Coffee, coffee. Well, I like tea, but okay, if I have to choose, gotta be coffee. I can't live without coffee. Tea is pleasure.
Okay.
Tea is
Okay.
for the
Uh, Nice, nice. What about one book you think everyone should read, apart from yours, of course?
apart from mine. Man Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. Oh my God, that book, even when I say it, it's about his experience in a Nazi concentration camp. Yes, Viktor Frankl is a very short book.
Uh-huh.
Such a powerful story. I read it twice. It changes your perspective of life and how you take the challenges of life.
What is the author's name? Victor?
Viktor Frankl.
Oh, okay. Frankl. Yeah, definitely I will read that. Um, Name one leader who inspires you.
Does it have to be present?
Yeah, I mean, anyway, it can be
Okay, I'm
present,
gonna
it
be
can be past as well.
okay. I have two. I don't know why I should have, but it's I think the yin and yang in me. I've always admired Mahatma Gandhi. Read his
Okay.
books, and that influenced his story. Influenced my view on leadership. His story of how he united India. But then the other part, the yang. I'm a big admirer of Alexander the Great, Alexander Macedonian the Great.
Mm-hmm.
Boldness and courage, and bringing the Greek civilization all over the world.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Uh, the best advice you have ever received in one sentence.
The best advice I ever received in one sentence. Yes, and it is from my dad. It's on my coffee cup. He passed away, and when he passed away, I gave some coffee cups with this quote. He said, "Listen to everyone, but do what you want in the end." I translated from Romania, and it sounded much better in Romania, but it's really about always ask for opinion, but independent thinking.
Perfect. Perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely. Get as many ideas or as many suggestions or as many advice, but finally take your call, basically.
Yes. Trust yourself to make your own call.
Yeah. Final thoughts on to the audience, Selena. If you can give your final thoughts.
I would say it's again about the link between teams, work teams, and families. I would say really strong teams, they should feel like families because everything is easy if you build it on trust, shared purpose, and courage to have the tough conversations. So don't be shy. Invest in those team development activities. Invest in getting to know each other, building the trust so that you can have a tough conversations when you need to in that leadership team.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Thank you for your wisdom and personal journey to share your personal journey with us. Thank you for you joining us today, sharing your journey as an executive coach. For listeners, you can find Stelina's book Parentship and Mother as Leader on in Amazon. You can also connect with her. We will share her connection. Yeah, there's a book which I as well read. It was very interesting, and all family members should read that. That's a very powerful message from her. We hope today's conversation inspired you to reflect on how you lead or not just work, but also in your daily life. Thank you for tuning in the BizTech Pulse. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and leave us your review. Subscribe as you don't want to miss future conversation with such leaders who are shaping the way we think and live. Until next time, stay curious and stay innovative. Thank you. Thank you very much.